If you're hearing this, it's no accident. Pause for a moment and let the weight of those words sink in. This isn't a random moment in your life. This is the universe calling you to something greater. You're here because you're being given the chance to break free from the cycle you've been living in, a cycle that's been holding you back, shaping your reality without you even knowing it. What if I told you that the patterns you've been running, those familiar cycles of failure, pain, and disappointment, aren't your fault? They're not just happenstance. They are part of a larger force, an ancient energy that's been guiding you towards this exact moment. You are ready now, ready to shift, ready to step into a new chapter where karma no longer holds power over you. This isn't a coincidence, this is your awakening. You've crossed a threshold, and what's waiting on the other side is nothing short of a transformation. One that will free you from the hidden forces that have shaped your past and empower you to create the life you've always dreamed of. The universe isn't punishing you. It's calling you to remember your power. This is the moment you've been waiting for. The cycle is ending, and your new journey begins now. Chapter 1. The Hidden Forces That Bind You. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, the same patterns keep appearing in your life? You try to break free, but the chains feel unbreakable. What if I told you these cycles are not your fault, but a part of something bigger? The universe's way of pushing you towards something far more powerful than you could imagine. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 37 years old, successful by most measures, a good job, a comfortable apartment, friends who care about her. But every morning when she wakes up, there's this weight on her chest. It's the same feeling she's carried for as long as she can remember. She finds herself drawn to relationships that never quite work out, always in the same way. The initial spark, the deep connection, then slowly, the distance, the pulling away, the familiar ache of being left behind. Again, you might know this feeling. Perhaps it shows up differently in your life. Maybe it's the job you keep leaving, only to find yourself in the same toxic environment with a different name on the door. Maybe it's the financial struggles that seem to follow you no matter how hard you work. Or perhaps it's that gnawing sense of unworthiness that whispers in your ear just when you're about to step into something beautiful. These are not coincidences. These are not random occurrences in a chaotic universe. What you're experiencing are the threads of an ancient pattern, woven long before you were conscious enough to see them, like an invisible hand guiding you through the same corridors over and over again. Sarah sits at her kitchen table one morning, coffee growing cold in her hands, and she asks herself the question that changes everything. Why does this keep happening to me? It's not asked with desperation this time. It's asked with curiosity, with a readiness to truly see. And in that moment of genuine questioning, something shifts. The universe has been waiting for this, waiting for her, waiting for you, to stop running long enough to turn around and face what's been chasing you all along. These hidden forces that bind you are not your enemy. They are not punishments. They are teachers dressed in the clothing of your deepest wounds, showing up again and again until you finally learn the lesson they carry. The universe is not cruel. It is patient, infinitely patient. It will present the same classroom, the same test, as many times as it takes for you to finally understand. Think about your own life right now. Where do you see the repetition? What patterns have become so familiar that you've almost made peace with them, resigned to their presence like old furniture you no longer notice? The relationships that mirror each other? The self-sabotage that appears just when success is within reach? The fear that stops you from speaking your truth? These patterns are not random. They are your karma, the accumulated energy of past choices, past beliefs, past wounds that have crystallized into the reality you're living now. And here's what most people don't understand. You are powerful enough to change them. Not someday, not when you're more ready, more worthy, more healed. Right now, in this very moment. But first, you must see them clearly. You must stop pretending they don't exist. Stop telling yourself that this time will be different while doing the exact same things. Stop believing that the problem is out there in other people, in circumstances beyond your control. Sarah takes a deep breath and opens her journal. For the first time in years, she writes with complete honesty, "I am afraid of being loved." The words stare back at her from the page, stark and true. This is the hidden force that has been binding her. Not that she can't find love, but that deep down she doesn't believe she deserves to keep it. So she chooses partners who will inevitably leave, confirming what she's always believed about herself. Can you feel it? That moment of recognition? It might be uncomfortable. It might make you want to close this off, to go back to the familiar numbness. But stay with me. Stay with yourself. This discomfort is not a warning to turn back. It's a signal that you're finally moving in the right direction. The hidden forces that bind you are losing their invisibility. Once you see them, they can never be quite as powerful again. The spell begins to break the moment you acknowledge it exists. Affirmation. Take a deep breath with me now. Place your hand on your heart and repeat after me, either out loud or in the quiet of your mind. I acknowledge the cycles in my life, and I am ready to release them. Say it again. Feel it. This is the first step on your journey to freedom. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are simply caught in a pattern that no longer serves you. And today, right now, you are beginning to break free. Chapter 2. The Invisible Web of Karma. Welcome back. I know that what you've just acknowledged might feel heavy. You might be sitting with questions, maybe even some resistance. That's perfectly natural. What we're about to explore together goes against everything our modern world has taught us about cause and effect, about blame and responsibility. Let's talk about karma, not the simplified version you've heard at parties. What goes around comes around. But the real, nuanced, powerful truth of how karma actually operates in your life. Karma is not punishment. It is not the universe keeping score of your mistakes, waiting to exact revenge. Karma is simply energy. It's the Sanskrit word for action, and it refers to the law of cause and effect that governs not just your physical actions, but your thoughts, your beliefs, your intentions. Every single moment you are creating karma, and every single moment you are experiencing the results of karma you've already created. Think of it like this. Imagine your consciousness as a garden. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you feed is a seed planted in this garden. Some seeds you planted consciously, deliberately, but most were planted long ago when you were too young to understand what you were doing. They were handed to you by your parents, your culture, your early experiences, seeds of unworthiness, seeds of fear, seeds of limitation. And here's what makes karma so tricky. These seeds don't just sit dormant. They grow beneath the surface, sending out roots, creating an entire underground network that shapes the landscape of your life without you ever seeing it happen. Then one day, they sprout, and you wonder why this particular flower, this particular problem, this particular pain keeps appearing in your garden year after year. A man named David sits across from his therapist, frustrated. "I don't understand," he says. "I had a great interview. The job was perfect, and I just froze, just like I always do. It's like there's a part of me that won't let me succeed." What David is experiencing is not a character flaw, it's karma. Somewhere in his past, a seed was planted, perhaps by a critical father who told him he'd never amount to anything, perhaps by a failure that felt so devastating he decided never to risk that feeling again. That seed has been growing in the darkness, and now it operates automatically, triggering anxiety and self-sabotage whenever success comes too close. This is the invisible web of karma. It operates below your conscious awareness, pulling strings you don't even know exist. It shows up as just the way I am, or bad luck, or other people's fault. But it's none of those things. It's a pattern of energy that you, yes, you, have the power to change. Here's the truth that might be hard to hear at first. You are not the victim of your karma. You are the creator of it. Even the karma that feels like it was done to you, the childhood wounds, the betrayals, the losses, has been transformed by your response into the patterns you're living now. Someone else might have experienced the exact same events and created completely different karma from them. This is not about blame. Please hear me on this. This is about power. Because if you created these patterns, even unconsciously, then you have the power to uncreate them. You are not helpless. You are not trapped. You are simply unaware. Until now. Let's do something together. I want you to pause for a moment and think about one recurring challenge in your life. Maybe it's the relationship pattern we talked about earlier. Maybe it's financial stress. Maybe it's a health issue that keeps returning. Choose one. Got it? Good. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what belief would I have to hold for this pattern to make sense? What seed would have to be planted in my consciousness for this particular flower to keep growing? If you keep attracting unavailable partners, what would you have to believe about love? Perhaps that it's not safe, that it always ends in pain, that you don't deserve constancy. If you keep facing financial struggles despite working hard, what would you have to believe about money? Perhaps that it's evil, that rich people are selfish, that you have to struggle to be virtuous. Can you see it? Can you feel the belief beneath the pattern? That belief is the root of your karma, and the beautiful, liberating truth is this: beliefs can be changed. Seeds can be removed and replaced. Gardens can be replanted. The web of karma that has been holding you is invisible only because you haven't looked directly at it. But you're looking now, and in this looking, in this awareness, the web begins to dissolve. Not all at once. Karma doesn't usually work that way, but thread by thread, you are beginning to free yourself. Sarah, from our last chapter, has started to see her web. She realizes that her belief, I am afraid of being loved, came from watching her mother's pain when her father left. She internalized the lesson. Love equals abandonment. Better to leave first, or choose people who will leave, than to risk the devastation her mother experienced. This is karma. This is how it works. A childhood moment creates a belief. The belief creates a pattern. The pattern creates a life. But here's the miracle. Once Sarah sees this, truly sees it, she has a choice. For the first time, she can choose differently, not because the fear goes away, but because she understands it. She sees it as a pattern, not as truth. Affirmation. Place both hands over your heart. Feel your chest rise and fall with your breath, and say with me, I am the creator of my reality. I am aware of the invisible forces shaping my life, and I now choose to understand and change them. Feel that power. You are not at the mercy of forces beyond your control. You are the force. You are the creator, and your awareness is the first tool of transformation. Chapter 3. The Endless Loop. There's a story I want to share with you. It's about a man named Marcus, but really, it's about all of us. Marcus wakes up every morning at 6:47 a.m., not because his alarm is set for that time, but because his body has learned this rhythm. He lies there for exactly 3 minutes, feeling the anxiety build in his chest before forcing himself out of bed. He showers, thinking about all the things he needs to do, all the ways he's already behind. He skips breakfast, no time, and rushes out the door. At work, he's competent, good even, But he keeps his head down. When someone asks for his opinion in meetings, he gives brief, safe answers. He has ideas, brilliant ones actually, but he keeps them to himself. What if they're not good enough? What if people judge him? By evening he's exhausted, not from the work, but from the constant vigilance, the holding back, the playing small. He goes home, orders takeout, watches television until his eyes blur. He tells himself tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow he'll speak up. Tomorrow he'll take better care of himself. Tomorrow. But tomorrow comes, and Marcus wakes up at 6:47 a.m., anxiety already building in his chest. This is the loop, the endless, exhausting, soul-crushing loop. And Marcus has been running it for 15 years. You might be thinking, but that's not me. My loop is different. And you're right. Your loop probably looks different on the surface. But I want you to feel into the essence of what's happening here. The repetition, the promise to change that never quite materializes, the exhaustion of running the same race day after day and never crossing the finish line. What's your loop? Is it the conversation you keep having with your partner, the same words in a slightly different order, ending in the same stalemate? Is it the Sunday night dread before the work week begins, knowing you'll spend 5 days counting down to Friday? Is it the diet you start with determination every Monday, only to find yourself standing in front of the refrigerator Thursday night, eating your feelings and your goals in equal measure? The loop is karma's most visible manifestation. It's not subtle, it's right there running on repeat, like a song stuck on infinite replay, and yet, somehow, we keep acting surprised when the next loop begins. We keep thinking, this time will be different, while doing exactly the same thing. Here's what keeps you in the loop: the belief that the problem is external. Marcus believes his anxiety is just who he is, a chemical imbalance, bad genetics. He believes his fear of speaking up is justified. People really are judgmental. The workplace really is competitive. He believes he's too tired to cook because his job really is demanding. All of these things might be partially true, but they're not the whole truth. The whole truth is that Marcus is running a program installed 27 years ago when he gave a presentation in 7th grade and a kid in the back row laughed. In that moment, Marcus decided speaking up equals humiliation, and that decision has been running his life ever since. The loop isn't maintained by circumstances. It's maintained by your unconscious commitment to the belief system that created it. Let me say that again, because it's crucial. You are unconsciously committed to maintaining your loop, not because you want to suffer, but because at some point this loop served you. It protected you. It made sense. And your psyche, loyal and conservative, keeps running it because it once kept you safe. But what kept you safe at 7 or 17 or 27 is now keeping you stuck. I want you to do something with me right now. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. If not, just soften your gaze. Take a deep breath. Now visualize your loop, not the details but the feeling of it. See it as a circle, a path you walk again and again. Notice how familiar it is. Notice how the scenery never changes. You know every tree, every stone, every turn. Now, I want you to ask this loop a question. What are you protecting me from? Listen, don't force an answer, just listen. What arises? For Marcus, when he finally did this exercise, the answer was immediate and devastating. I'm protecting you from mattering too much. Because if you matter and then you fail, the pain will destroy you. What does your loop protect you from? Rejection, responsibility, disappointment, success, the unknown? The loop is not your enemy. It's a misguided friend trying to keep you safe from something that scared you once. But you're not that person anymore. You're stronger than you were. You're ready for more. You're ready to step off the path and into the wilderness of your true potential. Marcus finally broke his loop. Not all at once. That's rarely how it happens. But he started small. One morning he woke up at 6:47, felt the anxiety, and instead of rushing forward, he sat with it. He asked it what it wanted to tell him. He made breakfast, even though his mind screamed about not having time. He spoke up in one meeting, his heart pounding, and survived the experience. He noticed that the world didn't end. He noticed that people actually valued what he had to say. Slowly, the groove of the loop began to smooth out. New paths began to form. This is available to you right now. Not someday when you're more ready, more healed, more whatever. Now. The loop continues only because you continue to walk it. The moment you stop, the moment you choose to step onto new ground, everything begins to shift. Affirmation. Take a deep breath and place your hand on your belly. Feel yourself grounded here, present. Say with me, I acknowledge my own loop and choose to step outside of it. One more time, louder this time, if you can. I acknowledge my own loop and choose to step outside of it. You are not your patterns. You are the awareness watching the patterns, and awareness has the power to choose differently. Chapter 4. The universe is sending you a sign. Something is shifting. Can you feel it? After everything we've explored together, the hidden forces, the karmic web, the endless loop, something in you has begun to change. Maybe you've noticed it. Maybe it's subtle, just a whisper of possibility, where there used to be only resignation. Or maybe it's louder, a call you can't ignore anymore. The universe has been watching. It's always watching. And when you begin to wake up, when you start to see the patterns and ask the deeper questions, the universe responds. It always responds. Not always in the way you expect, not always in the way you want, but always in the way you need. Let me tell you what happened to Sarah, the woman we met in the first chapter. Remember her? The one caught in the pattern of relationships that never lasted, trapped in her belief that love equals abandonment. 3 weeks after she wrote those words in her journal, I am afraid of being loved, something strange happened. She was walking through the grocery store, mundane Tuesday evening, mind half occupied with what to make for dinner. And there, in the produce section, she overheard a mother talking to her young daughter. No, sweetie, the mother said gently. Love doesn't leave. People leave sometimes, but love stays. Real love always stays. Sarah froze, her hand on a bag of apples. The woman's words seemed to echo in the air, louder than they should have been in that busy store. She felt tears spring to her eyes for reasons she couldn't immediately explain. But somewhere deep inside, she understood. This was a message. The universe had just spoken directly to her in the produce section of Trader Joe's. This is how it works. When you begin to wake up, when you start to truly see your patterns and express genuine willingness to change, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Not with grand miracles and burning bushes, though sometimes, yes, even that, but usually with small moments. Ordinary magic, a sentence overheard, a book that falls off a shelf, a friend who calls out of the blue with exactly the words you needed to hear. These are not coincidences. There are no coincidences. Everything is connected in ways your conscious mind can barely grasp. When you shift your internal landscape, the external world shifts to match it. Always. But here's the thing most people miss. The universe's signs are often uncomfortable. They push you, they challenge you, they ask you to step into the very thing you've been avoiding. For Marcus, the man caught in his loop of anxiety and playing small, the sign came in the form of an unexpected promotion. His boss called him in and offered him a team lead position, exactly the kind of visibility and responsibility Marcus had been unconsciously avoiding his entire career. His first instinct was to say no, to explain why he wasn't ready, why someone else would be better, why this wasn't the right time. The familiar anxiety rose in his throat. This was his loop trying to pull him back to safety. But something had changed in Marcus. He'd been doing the work, he'd been seeing the pattern, and in that moment, sitting across from his boss, he recognized what was happening. This wasn't just a promotion. This was the universe saying, "You're ready. I know you don't think you are, but you're ready. Trust me." He took the job, and yes, it was terrifying, and yes, he stumbled, but he didn't fail. He didn't destroy himself with the pain of mattering. He discovered that he was stronger than his fear had ever given him credit for. I want you to think back over the last few weeks of your life, maybe even just the last few days, since you started this journey of awakening, since you began to see your patterns clearly. What has shown up for you? Maybe it was subtle, a conversation that made you think, a dream that lingered all day, a feeling you couldn't shake. Or maybe it was obvious, an opportunity, a challenge, a door opening where there was only wall before. The universe is always speaking, but most of the time we're not listening. We're too caught up in our loops, too identified with our patterns, too convinced that life is just random chaos with no underlying meaning or intelligence. But you're listening now, aren't you? You're starting to notice the synchronicities, the meaningful coincidences, the way things line up just when you need them to. This is not wishful thinking. This is not confirmation bias. This is the actual mechanism by which consciousness creates reality. Your awareness has power. Your intention has power. When you genuinely commit to transformation, when you say, "I am ready," and mean it, the universe hears you and it sends help. Sometimes that help looks like support, the perfect book, the wise friend, the insight that changes everything. But just as often that help looks like challenge, the difficult conversation you can no longer avoid, the old relationship that needs to end, the comfortable job that no longer fits who you're becoming. The universe is not here to make you comfortable. It's here to help you grow. And growth requires challenge. It requires stepping into the unknown. It requires becoming someone new. So when the signs come, and they are coming, believe me, don't dismiss them. Don't explain them away. Don't wait for absolute certainty before you act. The universe is subtle. It whispers. If you wait for it to shout, you might wait forever. Learn to trust the whispers. Learn to recognize the feeling in your body when something is meant for you. That subtle quickening, that sense of alignment, even when your mind is screaming in protest. Sarah called her therapist after the grocery store incident. "I know this might sound crazy," she said, "but I think the universe just gave me permission to believe in love again." Her therapist smiled. "Maybe it did, or maybe you gave yourself permission, and the universe reflected it back to you." Both things were true. Affirmation: close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Say with me, "I am open to receiving the signs from the universe guiding me to a new cycle." Say it again, this time really feeling it. "I am open to receiving the signs from the universe guiding me to a new cycle." The signs are already here. You just needed to become the kind of person who can see them, and you are. You're becoming that person right now, in this very moment. Chapter 5. Your Call to Transformation. This is it. The moment everything has been leading to. You've seen the hidden forces. You've understood the karmic web. You've recognized your loop. You've received the signs. And now you're standing at the threshold. The old cycle is ending. The new one is waiting. But it can only begin when you answer the call. This is your call to transformation. Let me tell you how it happened for Sarah. 3 months into her journey of awareness, she met someone. His name was James, and he was different from all the others. Not because he was perfect, he wasn't, but because he was available, emotionally available, consistently available. He didn't play games. He didn't create distance. He showed up. And Sarah was terrified. Every cell in her body screamed at her to run. Her old patterns, sensing their own extinction, fought back with everything they had. They whispered, "This won't last. He'll leave eventually. Better to leave first. Better to sabotage it now than wait for the inevitable pain." She came so close to ending it. She rehearsed the conversation in her head. She even wrote the text message, "I don't think this is working." But then she stopped. She put the phone down. She took a deep breath, and she asked herself the question that changes everything. Who do I want to be? Not what does my pattern want? Not what does my fear demand? But who did she, Sarah, the real Sarah, beneath all the protection and all the pain, who did she actually want to be? The answer was immediate. I want to be someone who allows herself to be loved. In that moment, she made a choice. Not to ignore her fear, but to act in spite of it, to choose transformation over safety, to answer the call. She didn't send the text. Instead, she called James and told him the truth. "I'm scared. I'm really scared. This is where I usually run, and I don't want to run anymore." His response changed her life. "Thank you for telling me. I'm not going anywhere." This is the call to transformation. It's not gentle, it's not easy. It asks everything of you. It asks you to become someone you've never been before, to make choices you've never made, to trust when every past experience tells you not to. Marcus faced his call too. 3 months into his new role as team lead, he made a mistake, a significant one, the kind of mistake that in his old loop would have confirmed every belief he'd ever had about himself. "See? You're not good enough. You never were. Who were you kidding?" The old Marcus would have spiraled, would have resigned, probably, would have retreated back into invisibility where mistakes don't happen because nothing is risked. But this Marcus had done the work. This Marcus recognized what was happening. This was the universe saying, "Okay, you've grown. But are you committed? When things get hard, will you revert to your old pattern, or will you trust the new path?" Marcus did something revolutionary. He admitted his mistake. Out loud. In front of his entire team, he took full responsibility. He outlined what he'd learned and how he'd prevent it in the future. He stood in his vulnerability and his humanity and refused to collapse back into his old identity. And something miraculous happened. Nothing terrible followed. His team respected him more, not less. His boss was impressed by his accountability, and Marcus discovered that he could make mistakes and survive. That mattering meant being imperfect and still worthy. That failure wasn't the end of the world. It was just feedback. This is what transformation looks like. Not perfection, not the absence of fear or challenge, but the willingness to choose differently when the old moment arrives. Your call is coming. In fact, it's already here. You might not recognize it as a call. It might look like a problem, a challenge, a difficult choice. But I promise you, if you're listening to these words right now, the universe is preparing something for you. Your old cycle is ending, not because time has passed, but because you've done the work of seeing it. You've acknowledged the patterns. You've understood the karma, you've noticed the signs, and now comes the final step, the choice. Will you answer the call? Will you step into the unknown territory of a new cycle? Or will you retreat back to the familiar pain of the old one? There's no judgment either way. Transformation is not mandatory. You can stay in your loop for as long as you choose. The universe is infinitely patient. But I suspect you're reading this, listening to this, because you're done with the loop, because you're ready for something more, because the call has become too loud to ignore. Here's what you need to know. The call to transformation doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't wait until you feel ready, until you have all the answers, until the fear goes away. It comes now in the middle of your messy, imperfect, still healing life. And it asks you to say yes anyway. That yes might look like having the conversation you've been avoiding. It might look like ending the relationship that's been slowly killing you. It might look like starting the business, writing the book, taking the trip, speaking the truth. It might look like staying when you usually leave, or leaving when you usually stay. Your call is unique to you, but one thing is universal. It will require you to do something you've never done before, to become someone you've never been, to trust in something larger than your fear. I want you to place both hands over your heart. Feel yourself breathing. Feel yourself alive, present, here on the edge of everything new. The old cycle is ending. Can you feel it loosening its grip? Can you sense the space opening up around you, the possibility trembling in the air? You are not the same person who started this journey. You've woken up, you've seen, you've understood, and now you're being asked to leap. Affirmation. Say this with me, with all the power you possess. I am ready for the transformation that is coming into my life. I trust the universe's guidance. Again, I am ready for the transformation that is coming into my life. I trust the universe's guidance. One more time, and really feel it in every cell of your body. I am ready for the transformation that is coming into my life. I trust the universe's guidance. You are ready. You've always been ready. You were ready before you even knew you were ready. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't call those who can't answer. It doesn't give you dreams too big for your soul. This is your moment. This is your call. Everything you've been through, every loop you've run, every cycle you've completed, it's all been preparing you for this. Answer the call. Step forward. Your new cycle begins now. Chapter 6. Facing your shadow. You've answered the call. You've said yes to transformation. And now comes the part that no one warns you about, the descent. To rise into your new self, you must first go down into the depths. You must face what you've been running from. You must meet your shadow, the shadow. Even the word feels heavy, doesn't it? Dark, forbidden, dangerous. And yes, your shadow holds all of these qualities, but it holds something else too, your power. The very power you've been searching for outside yourself has been waiting in the darkness within you all along. Let me tell you what happened to Marcus 3 weeks after he answered his call to transformation. He was doing well, or so it seemed. The new leadership role was challenging but manageable. His team respected him. He was speaking up more, taking risks. On the surface, everything was changing for the better. But at night, the dreams came. Dark, disturbing dreams. In them, he was powerful but cruel. He was leading, but he was ruthless. He was visible, but he was destructive. He would wake up in a cold sweat, disturbed not just by the dreams themselves, but by a terrible recognition. Some part of him had enjoyed the power in those dreams. Some part of him wanted to dominate, to control, to prove he was better than everyone else. This disgusted him. That's not who I am, he told himself. I'm kind, I'm humble, I would never. But his shadow whispered back, wouldn't you? Your shadow is everything you decided was unacceptable about yourself. When you were young, you learned quickly what was rewarded and what was punished, what made people love you and what made them turn away. And so you split yourself. You took the good parts and put them in the light where everyone could see them. And you took the bad parts, the anger, the selfishness, the desire for power, the sexuality, the jealousy, the rage, and you stuffed them down into the basement of your psyche. These are not me, you decided. These are the enemy. But here's the truth that will set you free. Your shadow is not your enemy. Your shadow is the part of you that you exiled because you thought you had to in order to survive. And yes, it's been down there in the darkness, growing wild and unchecked, but it's still you, it's still yours, and it contains gifts you desperately need. Sarah's shadow appeared to her in a different way. She was with James, the man who stayed, and things were good. Really good. But one day she watched him talking with a woman at a party. just a friendly conversation, nothing inappropriate, and she felt it. A surge of possessive rage, so intense it shocked her. Later that night, alone in her bathroom, she looked at herself in the mirror and saw something she'd never admitted before. Beneath all her fear of abandonment wasn't just pain, there was also control. She had controlled her relationships by choosing unavailable men. She had controlled the outcome by leaving first. She had controlled her pain by never allowing herself to fully love. "I'm a control freak," she whispered to her reflection, and then, softer, "I'm terrified of not being in control." This was her shadow, not the fear itself, but what she had done with the fear, the manipulation, the self-protection disguised as vulnerability, the way she had used her woundedness as a shield and a weapon. I want you to take a moment, right now. Breathe. This is going to be uncomfortable, but stay with me. Think about the quality you most pride yourself on. Your kindness, perhaps. Your strength. Your generosity. Your intelligence. Got it? Now, I want you to ask yourself, what is the shadow side of this quality? Because every light casts a shadow, and the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. If you pride yourself on kindness, where are you being weak? Where are you avoiding necessary confrontation? Where is your niceness actually people-pleasing in disguise? If you pride yourself on strength, where are you being rigid? Where are you refusing to ask for help? Where is your invulnerability actually disconnection? If you pride yourself on generosity, where are you giving to manipulate? Where are you depleting yourself? Where is your giving actually away to avoid receiving? Can you feel it? That squirm of discomfort? That voice saying, "No, not me. I don't do that." That's your shadow trying to stay hidden. The shadow doesn't want to be seen. It has survived by staying in the darkness. But transformation requires bringing everything into the light, not to judge it, not to shame it, but to integrate it, to reclaim the power you've been projecting onto others, the feelings you've been suppressing, the desires you've been denying. Marcus finally stopped running from his shadow. He sat down and had a conversation with the part of him that wanted power. "What do you want?" he asked it, and the answer surprised him. "I want you to stop playing small. I want you to stop apologizing for your brilliance. I want you to lead, not from ego, but from your full power." His shadow wasn't trying to make him cruel. It was trying to make him whole. Sarah did the same. She sat with her controlling shadow and asked it, "What are you trying to protect?" The answer came in a sob. "I'm trying to protect you from the pain of losing control like your mother did. I'm trying to protect you from falling apart." "Thank you," Sarah whispered. "Thank you for trying to keep me safe. But I don't need you to control everything anymore. I'm strong enough now to handle uncertainty." This is the work of facing your shadow, not to destroy it, but to dialogue with it, to understand that every so-called negative quality is actually a misguided attempt at self-protection or a suppressed gift. Your anger might be your boundary-setting power. Your jealousy might be your desire for growth. Your selfishness might be your self-care trying to emerge. Close your eyes for a moment. Take 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now, I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror, but this is no ordinary mirror. This mirror shows you your shadow. Don't try to control what you see. Just watch. Let an image or a feeling or a knowing arise. What appears? A quality you've denied? A behavior you've been ashamed of? A desire you've been suppressing? Now, speak to it. Out loud if you can, or silently if you must. Say, "I see you. You are part of me, and I am ready to understand why you exist." Listen for the response. It might not be in words. It might be a feeling, a memory, an understanding that washes over you. Your shadow has been waiting for this moment. for your willingness to see it without judgment, to recognize that it's not the monster you thought it was, but a fragmented part of yourself trying to come home. Affirmation. Place your hand on your heart. Say with me, gently but firmly, I am willing to face the parts of myself that I have been avoiding. I am ready to heal. Again, I am willing to face the parts of myself that I have been avoiding. I am ready to heal. The healing has already begun. By seeing your shadow, you've taken the first step toward wholeness, and wholeness is where your true power lives. Chapter 7. Releasing Past Traumas. There's a woman I want you to meet. Her name is Elena, and she carries the weight of her past in her body. You can see it in the way she holds her shoulders, tight, protective, curled slightly forward as if bracing for impact. You can hear it in the way she apologizes for things that aren't her fault. You can feel it in the space she takes up in a room, as little as possible. Elena experienced trauma when she was 16. I won't detail it here. The specifics aren't what matter. What matters is that in that moment, something in Elena broke, or at least that's what she believed. She decided that she was damaged, that she was less than, that what happened to her meant something fundamental about her worth. And for 23 years, Elena has been living from that wound. Every relationship she entered with the belief that she didn't deserve real love. Every opportunity that came her way, she approached with the certainty that she would fail. Every moment of joy was shadowed by the waiting for it to end. This is what unhealed trauma does. It doesn't just live in your past. It lives in your present. It shapes your future. It becomes the lens through which you see everything, the filter through which all experience must pass. But here's what Elena discovered and what you need to know. Trauma is not your identity. What happened to you is not who you are. You might be carrying trauma, too. Maybe it's as dramatic as Elena's. Maybe it's quieter, 1,000 small cuts instead of one deep wound. Maybe it's the childhood neglect that taught you you're not important. The parents' criticism that taught you you're not good enough. The betrayal that taught you people can't be trusted. The loss that taught you love leads to pain. Whatever it is, wherever it lives in your body, and it does live in your body, stored in your tissues, your nervous system, your cellular memory, it's time to release it. Not to forget it, not to pretend it didn't happen, but to release the charge, the hold it has over your present moment, to finally let it be something that happened to you rather than something that defines you. Elena came to this understanding through a simple but profound exercise. I'm going to guide you through it now. If you're driving or need to stay alert, just listen and come back to this practice later. If you're in a safe space, let's do this together. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel your body in contact with whatever is supporting you. The chair, the floor, the ground beneath you. Now bring to mind a past hurt, not the worst thing that ever happened to you. We start gentle, but something that still causes a twinge when you think about it. A betrayal, a loss, a moment when you felt powerless or hurt or abandoned. Don't go into the story. Just feel where it lives in your body. Where do you hold this pain? Your chest, your throat, your stomach, your shoulders. Put your hand there. Feel the warmth of your own palm on that space. Now imagine that this pain is a color. What color is it? Don't think about it. Just let a color arise. Dark red, murky brown, sharp black, gray. See it there. This color of old pain sitting in your body. Now take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine this color beginning to soften. Not disappearing, not yet, but losing its solid quality, becoming more liquid, more flowing. Breathe in again. This time, imagine golden light entering your body from above, from the universe, from source, from God. from whatever name feels right to you. This is healing light. This is love. This is the energy that dissolves old wounds. Watch this golden light touch the color of your pain. Watch them meet, and slowly, slowly, watch the pain begin to dissolve. Not violently, not all at once, but gently, like salt dissolving in warm water. With each exhale, imagine the dissolved pain leaving your body, flowing out through your breath, through your hands and feet, flowing down into the earth, which receives everything and transforms it. This pain is not you. It never was. It was something that happened, something you experienced. But you are not your experiences. You are the consciousness that experiences, and consciousness cannot be damaged. It can only witness, learn, and grow. Elena did this exercise every day for 3 months. At first, nothing seemed to change. The pain was so solid, so entrenched. But she kept going, and slowly she noticed things shifting. Her shoulders began to relax. She stopped apologizing for existing. She looked people in the eye. She started to believe, just a little, that maybe she wasn't broken after all. One day she was with her therapist, and she said something that surprised them both. "I'm grateful for what I went through." Her therapist raised an eyebrow. "Grateful?" "Not grateful it happened," Elena clarified, "but grateful for who it made me become. It gave me depth, compassion, strength I didn't know I had. It broke me open, yes, but now I'm using that opening to let light in. This is the alchemy of healing, not denying the wound, but transforming its meaning, not forgetting the pain, but refusing to let it have the final word about who you are. The trauma you carry is heavy, I know, I won't minimize it, but I need you to understand something. You are stronger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. You survived. You're here. You're listening to these words. You're doing the work. And now it's time to release the weight. Not because you're weak if you don't, but because you're strong enough now to carry something different, something lighter, something more true to who you really are, beneath all the protection and pain. Your past does not own your future, not unless you let it. And today, right now, you're choosing differently. You're choosing to release, to forgive, not them necessarily, but yourself. To forgive yourself for holding on so long, to forgive yourself for believing you were broken, to forgive yourself for letting the pain define you. You are not broken, you never were. You were wounded, yes, hurt, yes, but wounded things heal, and you have been healing all along, whether you realized it or not. Every day, you got up. Every day you kept going. Every day you chose life over despair. That was healing. And now you're ready for the final release, the letting go, the choosing of peace over the familiar ache of old pain. Affirmation. Place both hands on your heart. Feel yourself breathing. Feel yourself alive. Say with me, I release all past traumas and I choose peace and forgiveness. Louder now. I release all past traumas and I choose peace and forgiveness. One more time and really mean it. I release all past traumas and I choose peace and forgiveness. Feel the lightness beginning. It might be subtle. It might be just a whisper of possibility, but it's there. Your body knows how to heal. Your soul knows how to release. Trust the process. Chapter 8. The Power of Surrender. Control is exhausting, isn't it? You might not think of yourself as a controlling person. You're not micromanaging others. You're not demanding things go your way. But control doesn't always look like domination. Sometimes it looks like anxiety, like planning for every contingency, like lying awake at night, running through all the possible scenarios, trying to prepare for every outcome. Control is the opposite of trust. And most of us have been trying to control our lives since the moment we realized that life is uncertain and sometimes painful. Let me tell you about a man named David. Not the David from earlier chapters, but a different David. a man who made control his religion. He was a financial analyst, which suited him perfectly. Numbers made sense, spreadsheets were predictable. If you ran the calculations correctly, you could forecast the outcome. David approached his entire life like a spreadsheet. His retirement was planned to the penny, his career trajectory mapped out in 5-year increments, his fitness regime optimized for maximum efficiency. He had contingency plans for his contingency plans, and he was miserable, not in an obvious way. He was successful, comfortable, secure, but there was no joy in his life, no spontaneity, no magic, because magic requires uncertainty, joy requires surprise, and David had systematically eliminated both from his existence. Then his company downsized. After 15 years of impeccable performance, David was laid off. Not because he did anything wrong, but because of market forces beyond anyone's control. In one afternoon, his entire life plan crumbled, and David broke. For 3 weeks, he barely functioned. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. His mind spun in circles, trying to find the variable he'd missed, the calculation he'd gotten wrong. How had he not seen this coming? How had he not planned for this? But here's what David didn't realize. The universe had just given him the greatest gift of his life. It had taken away his illusion of control, and in doing so, it had created the space for something real to enter. It started small. One morning, unable to face another day of frantic job searching and planning, David did something completely out of character. He went for a walk. Not an optimized fitness walk, just a walk, no destination, no purpose. He found himself in a park he'd driven past 1,000 times but never entered. He sat on a bench. He watched children play. He noticed the way sunlight filtered through leaves. He felt the breeze on his face. And for the first time in 15 years, David felt present, here, now. Not planning the future or analyzing the past, but actually existing in this moment. It was terrifying, and it was exquisite. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not passivity. Surrender is not resignation. Surrender is the active choice to stop trying to control everything and to trust instead. To trust that the universe has intelligence. To trust that you don't need to micromanage every detail of your life. To trust that sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing. Is allowing, is opening your hands and letting go. This goes against everything our culture teaches us. We're taught that we create our reality, that we manifest our desires, that we must hustle and grind and force things to happen. And yes, action is important, intention is important. But there's a difference between inspired action and forced action, between co-creating with the universe and trying to bend reality to your will. Sarah learned this lesson with James. Remember her pattern of control disguised as fear? Well, 6 months into their relationship, James got a job offer in another city, a great opportunity, but it meant long distance for a year, maybe 2. The old Sarah would have panicked, would have tried to control the situation, talk him out of it, issue ultimatums, end things preemptively to avoid the uncertainty. But Sarah had been doing the work. She'd faced her shadow, she'd released her trauma, and now she was being called to surrender. She told James, "I don't want you to go, but I don't want you to stay for the wrong reasons either. You need to make the best decision for your life, and I need to trust that if we're meant to be together, we will be, even if I can't see how right now." This was terrifying for Sarah. Every cell in her body wanted to control the outcome, but she chose surrender instead. She chose trust, and you know what happened? James took the job, and for 2 years they did long distance, and it was hard, but it also created a depth and intentionality in their relationship that wouldn't have existed otherwise. They had to actually communicate. They had to be deliberate about their connection. They couldn't just coast on proximity. When James finally moved back, they got married, and Sarah realized If she had tried to control the situation, she would have destroyed the very thing she was trying to protect. Surrender had saved them both. I want you to think about where you're trying to control your life right now. Where are you forcing? Where are you manipulating? Where are you refusing to trust? Maybe it's a relationship you're trying to make work through sheer will. Maybe it's a career path you're clinging to even though it's clearly not working. Maybe it's your health, your finances, your children, your image. What would it feel like to let go? Not to abandon responsibility, but to release the death grip. To do your best and then surrender the outcome to something larger than yourself? This is the practice. Do what's yours to do. Take the actions that feel aligned. Make the efforts that feel true. And then let go. Release the outcome. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing, even when you don't understand the plan. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say to the universe, to God, to life itself, I surrender, I trust, I release my need to control everything. I am willing to be surprised by how good life can be when I stop forcing it. Say it again. Feel the relief in your body as you release the burden of having to manage every detail. David never went back to financial analysis. He became a teacher, makes a fraction of what he used to, lives in a smaller apartment, has less in his retirement account, and he's happier than he's ever been because he's no longer trying to control life. He's dancing with it. Affirmation. Take a deep, cleansing breath. Place your hands in your lap, palms up, in a gesture of receiving and releasing. Say with me, I surrender to the flow of life. I trust the process of my transformation. Again with feeling, I surrender to the flow of life. I trust the process of my transformation. One more time, I surrender to the flow of life. I trust the process of my transformation. Let go, let go, let go. The universe has you. You are safe. You are held. You don't have to do this alone. Chapter 9. Breaking free from the chains. The chains are real. You feel them every day. They're not made of metal, but they're just as strong. Stronger, maybe. Because the chains that bind you are made of belief. And belief is the most powerful force in the universe. You are chained to who you think you are, to who your parents told you you were, to who your failures convinced you you must be, to who your culture says you should be, to who your wounds made you become. But here's the truth that will set you free. Those chains are not locked. They never were. You've been wearing an open shackle your entire life, believing it was sealed. And today, we're going to take it off. Marcus felt the chain around his throat, the belief that speaking up equals humiliation. Sarah felt the chain around her heart, the belief that love equals abandonment. David felt the chain around his hands, the belief that letting go equals chaos. What's your chain? What belief binds you most tightly to your old self, your old cycle, your old life? Is it, I'm not good enough? Is it, I can't trust anyone? Is it, I don't deserve happiness? Is it, I'm broken? Is it, I'm too old, too young, too damaged, too late? These beliefs feel like facts, don't they? They feel like truth. But they're not. They're just stories you've been telling yourself for so long that they've calcified into reality. They're interpretations of events, not the events themselves. And interpretations can change. There was a woman named Keisha who spent 43 years chained to the belief that she was too much, too loud, too emotional, too intense, too opinionated. All through childhood, she'd been told to quiet down, to be less, to shrink herself to make others comfortable. And she did. She became a master of self-erasure. She made herself small. She softened her voice. She swallowed her opinions. She numbed her emotions. She became acceptable, palatable, easy to be around. And she disappeared, not physically but essentially. The real Keisha went into hiding, and a carefully constructed acceptable version took her place. But the real Keisha never died. She just went underground. And every once in a while she would push up through the cracks. A burst of laughter too loud for the room, an opinion too strong for the dinner table, a feeling too big to be contained. And every time this happened, Keisha would feel ashamed. "See," her internal voice would say, "you're still too much. You'll never be acceptable." The chain held fast, until one day Keisha was at a conference, and she heard a speaker say something that changed her life. What if the thing you've been told is too much is actually your gift? What if your intensity isn't a flaw but a superpower? What if the world doesn't need you to be less, but needs you to be fully, unapologetically you? Keisha sat in that conference hall and felt something crack open in her chest. What if? What if she wasn't too much? What if she was exactly right and everyone who told her to shrink was wrong? This is the moment of breaking free, not when the chain magically disappears, but when you realize you have the power to remove it yourself. When you see the belief for what it is, not truth, but conditioning, not reality, but interpretation, not permanent, but changeable. Breaking free doesn't mean the old belief goes away quietly. Oh no, it fights back. It tells you you're being irresponsible, reckless, selfish. It warns you of all the terrible things that will happen if you let it go. It plays every old memory that seems to prove it's true. But you're stronger now. You've faced your shadow. You've released your trauma. You've learned to surrender. And now you're ready to break the chains. Let's do this together, right now. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. In through your nose, filling your belly. Out through your mouth, releasing completely. Now identify your primary chain. What belief has kept you bound the longest? Say it out loud if you can. I believe I am, or I believe I can't, or I believe life is. Got it? Good. Now, I want you to visualize this belief as an actual chain. See it wrapped around you. Where is it? Around your wrists, your ankles, your neck, your chest? Look at this chain. Really see it. Notice its color, its texture, its weight. Now, here's the crucial part. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Not does it feel true, but is it absolutely, objectively, provably true? Have there been any moments, any exceptions, any evidence that contradicts this belief? There have been, there always are, because absolute beliefs are never absolute. They're generalizations based on limited experience, interpreted through the lens of pain or fear. Now take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine your hands reaching for that chain. Feel its coolness in your palms. Feel its weight. And then, with all the power you've accumulated through this journey, I want you to visualize yourself breaking that chain. However it happens for you, do you pull it apart? Does it dissolve? Does it shatter? See it, feel it, know it in your bones. This chain has no power over you anymore. Keisha broke her chain on a Tuesday morning. She was in a meeting and someone said something she disagreed with. The old Keisha would have stayed quiet, but something in her said, "Not anymore." She spoke up, passionately, articulately, fully. And yes, the room got quiet, but not with disapproval, with attention, with respect, with recognition that something real was being said. After the meeting, her colleague pulled her aside. "Thank you," he said. "I've been thinking the same thing for months, but didn't have the courage to say it." Keisha realized her too much was exactly what the situation needed. Her intensity wasn't a flaw, it was her medicine, her gift to the world. The chains are breaking. Can you feel it? That lightness, that possibility, that sense of, oh my God, I'm actually free. You don't have to be who you've always been. You don't have to live from your old beliefs. You don't have to repeat your old patterns. The chains are broken. The door is open. You can walk out anytime you choose. And you're choosing now, right now, in this moment. You're stepping into your true potential, unbounded by old stories, unlimited by old wounds, unrestrained by old fears. Affirmation: stand up if you can, or sit up straighter. Feel your spine, feel your power. Say with me, I release all attachments to old patterns and embrace my true potential. Louder, I release all attachments to old patterns and embrace my true potential. Shout it if you can. I release all attachments to old patterns and embrace my true potential. The chains are broken. You are free. Now let's step into what that freedom means. Chapter 10. Your New Beginning. You are not who you were when we started this journey. Can you feel it? The lightness in your chest where there used to be weight? The openness in your mind where there used to be limitation? The possibility in your heart where there used to be resignation? You have done the work. You faced your shadow and found your power there. You released your trauma and reclaimed your wholeness. You surrendered control and found trust. You broke your chains and stepped into freedom. And now you stand on the threshold of your new beginning. Not someday, not when you're more ready, more healed, more worthy. Now, right now, today. Let me tell you what happened to Sarah. It's been 3 years since she first wrote those words in her journal. I am afraid of being loved. 3 years since she started this journey of transformation. She and James are married now. They have a daughter. And every day, Sarah wakes up next to someone who stays, someone who sees her fully and chooses her anyway, someone who proves day after day that love doesn't always lead to abandonment. But here's what's more important than the happy ending. Sarah is different. The change isn't just in her circumstances, it's in her being. She carries herself differently. She breathes differently. She takes up space in the world without apology. She loves without the constant bracing for loss. The old Sarah still visits sometimes, usually when she's stressed or scared. That familiar whisper, "This is too good, it won't last." But now Sarah recognizes it as an echo of an old pattern, not a prophecy of the future. She thanks it for trying to protect her, and then she chooses differently. This is freedom, not the absence of old patterns, but the ability to choose something new when they arise. Marcus is leading a team of 30 people now. He still gets nervous before big presentations. The old anxiety still shows up, but it doesn't run his life anymore. He's learned to feel the fear and speak anyway, to acknowledge his humanity and show up anyway, to be imperfect and be visible anyway. Last month, he gave a presentation that didn't go well. He stumbled over his words. He lost his train of thought. The old Marcus would have spiraled, would have taken this as confirmation of his unworthiness. But this Marcus laughed it off. Well, that could have gone better, he told his team. And then he showed up the next day and tried again. Because he finally understands. His worth isn't determined by his performance. His value isn't measured by his perfection. He is enough exactly as he is, stumbles and all. And you? What does your new beginning look like? Close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and let yourself imagine. Who are you without your old patterns? Who are you without your limiting beliefs? Who are you when you're fully, completely, unapologetically yourself? What do you do differently? How do you show up in relationships? How do you pursue your dreams? What risks do you take? What joy do you allow? Don't censor it. Don't make it realistic or reasonable. Just feel into the truth of who you are when you're no longer chained by the past. Can you see her? Can you see him? Can you see yourself, radiant and free and fully alive? That's not a fantasy. That's not wishful thinking. That's your true self. That's who you've always been, beneath the protection and the pain and the patterns. And that self is accessible to you right now, not because you've earned it, but because it's your birthright. Keisha started a company, Can you imagine? The woman who spent 43 years making herself small now runs a business that requires her to be visible, vocal, and unapologetically herself every single day. She speaks at conferences, she writes articles, she shows up fully, intensely, powerfully. And yes, some people think she's too much, but she's finally realized those aren't her people. Her people love her intensity. They're inspired by it. They need it. I spent most of my life trying to fit into spaces that were too small for me, she told me recently. Now I'm creating spaces big enough for everyone to be fully themselves. This is what happens when you break free. You don't just transform your own life. You transform the lives of everyone around you. Your freedom gives others permission to be free. Your authenticity invites others to be authentic. Your wholeness reminds others of their own. You are reborn, not metaphorically. Actually, the person who started this journey no longer exists. The old cycle has ended. The karma has been released. The patterns have been broken. What remains is essence, is truth, is the real you finally allowed to emerge after years, maybe decades of hiding. And this you is magnificent. This you is powerful beyond measure. This you is capable of creating a life so beautiful, so authentic, so aligned that you won't recognize it as the same existence you were living before. Your new cycle begins now, not because something external has changed, but because you have changed. And when you change, everything changes. Chapter 11. The Birth of Your Higher Self. There is a version of you that has never been wounded, a version of you that has never doubted, a version of you that knows with absolute certainty who you are and why you're here. This version has been with you always, waiting, watching, whispering guidance that you couldn't quite hear through the noise of your pain and your patterns. But now that you've cleared the debris, now that you've released the old and broken free from your chains, you can finally hear it clearly. This is your higher self, and it's time to meet. Your higher self is not some distant, perfected version of you floating in the clouds. It's not something you need to become or achieve. It already exists. It has always existed. It's the part of you that is connected to Source, to the divine, to the infinite intelligence of the universe. It's the part of you that chose to be born into this life, into this body, into these circumstances, not as punishment, but as opportunity. Marcus encountered his higher self in a dream. He was standing on a mountain peak, the world spread out below him, and beside him stood a man who looked like him, but more solid, more radiant, more certain. "Who are you?" Marcus asked. "I'm you," the man said, "the you that has always known you were capable of leading, the you that has always understood that your sensitivity is not weakness, but wisdom, the you that chose this life because you knew you had something important to contribute." Marcus woke up with tears on his face, because he recognized this version of himself. He'd caught glimpses of it his whole life, moments when he felt completely aligned, completely clear, completely himself, but he'd never realized it was always accessible. He'd thought those moments were flukes, accidents of good fortune. They weren't. They were moments when he was in alignment with his higher self. Your higher self doesn't judge you for your mistakes. It doesn't shame you for your wounds. It understands that every single experience you've had, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, has been part of your soul's curriculum. Your higher self sees the bigger picture. It knows why you chose this family, this body, these challenges, and it knows that you're exactly where you need to be. But here's what makes this moment so powerful. You're finally ready to hear it. You're finally clear enough, open enough, healed enough to receive its guidance. The static has cleared. The connection is strong. Sarah met her higher self during a meditation. She was sitting in her living room, her daughter napping in the next room, James at work. She closed her eyes and followed a simple instruction. Ask to meet the wisest part of yourself. At first, nothing, just her breath, just the darkness behind her eyelids. But then, gradually, a presence. Not visual at first, just a knowing. A sense of someone, something, infinitely loving and infinitely wise, sitting with her. I've been waiting for you, the presence said, without words, pure knowing transferred directly into her consciousness. I didn't know you were there, Sarah thought back. I've always been here, even when you were most lost, especially when you were most lost. I was the voice that kept you alive when you wanted to give up. I was the hope that whispered one more day when you couldn't see a future. I was the love beneath your fear. Sarah opened her eyes with a gasp, because she suddenly understood. She had never been alone, not ever. Her higher self had been guiding her all along, through intuition, through synchronicity, through that still, small voice she'd learned to ignore but could never quite silence. Let's connect you with yours. Right now, this isn't complicated. Your higher self isn't hidden or hard to reach. It's just been drowned out by the noise of your ego, your fear, your conditioning. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. With each exhale, let go of any tension you're holding. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your mind quiet. Now place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. This is your body, the vehicle your higher self chose to inhabit for this lifetime. And now, with genuine curiosity and openness, think or say, I'm ready to connect with my higher self. I'm ready to receive guidance from the wisest part of me. Don't force anything. Don't try to make something happen. Just wait. Just listen. Just feel. What arises? It might be a feeling, a sense of peace, of warmth, of being held. It might be a knowing, sudden clarity about something you've been confused about. It might be an image, a color, a presence. It might be words that aren't in your own voice. It might be subtle, it might be profound. Whatever it is, trust it. This is your higher self, saying hello. Keisha's higher self appeared to her as a version of herself at age 8, before she learned to be small, before she decided she was too much. This 8-year-old Keisha was radiant, uncontained, fully expressed. She was dancing, laughing, taking up space without apology. I've been waiting for you to remember me, the child said. This is who you've always been. This is who you still are underneath everything you learned to be. And Keisha understood. Her higher self wasn't asking her to become something new. It was inviting her to return to what had always been true. Your higher self has wisdom for you, specific wisdom, not generic platitudes, but actual guidance about your life, your choices, your path forward. And now that you've connected, you can access this wisdom anytime. When you're confused, ask your higher self, what do I need to know? When you're scared, ask your higher self, what would you do? When you're stuck, ask your higher self, what am I not seeing? And then, this is crucial, listen. Not with your analytical mind, but with your whole being. The answer might not come immediately. It might come later that day, or in a dream, or through a conversation with a friend. But it will come, because your higher self is always communicating. You just need to stay open to receiving. Marcus now checks in with his higher self every morning, just a simple 5-minute practice. What does today require of me? He asks. And every time, he gets an answer. Sometimes it's practical. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding, today's the day. Sometimes it's more subtle. Be gentle with yourself today. Rest is productive too. But always, it's exactly what he needs to hear. This connection with your higher self changes everything, because when you're connected to this part of yourself, the part that knows, the part that sees, the part that trusts. You stop making decisions from fear. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop looking outside yourself for validation or direction. You become your own authority, your own guru, your own North Star. This doesn't mean you don't seek advice or wisdom from others, but it means you run everything through your own internal guidance system. You check in with your higher self before making big decisions. You trust your inner knowing over external pressure. You become sovereign, which is exactly what you were always meant to be. Welcome to your higher self. Welcome to the wisest, most loving, most aligned part of you. It's been waiting for this reunion, and now that you've connected, nothing will ever be quite the same, because now you know you're not alone, you're not confused, you're not lost. You have infinite wisdom available to you at every moment. You just have to remember to ask, to listen, to trust. Affirmation: place both hands on your heart. Feel the wisdom pulsing there. Say with me, I am one with my higher self. I trust my inner wisdom. Again with certainty, I am one with my higher self. I trust my inner wisdom. One more time as a declaration of truth. I am one with my higher self. I trust my inner wisdom. You are not separate from your wisdom. You are not separate from the divine. You are not separate from Source. You are one. You have always been one. And now, you finally know it. Chapter 12. Manifesting your new reality. You are not a passive observer of your life. You are the architect, the designer, the creator. And now that you're connected to your higher self, now that you're aligned with your truth, you have the power to manifest a reality that matches your soul's deepest desires. This is not wishful thinking. This is not positive thinking. This is the actual mechanics of how consciousness creates reality. Sarah never believed in manifestation. It sounded too fluffy, too new age, too good to be true. She was a practical person. Things happened because of hard work and luck, not because you visualized them. But then something happened that made her question everything she thought she knew. She was 8 months into her journey of transformation. She'd released her fear of abandonment. She'd broken her pattern of choosing unavailable men. She'd married James. And now she wanted to start her own business, something she'd dreamed about for years but never had the courage to pursue. One morning she sat down and did something that felt slightly ridiculous. She wrote a detailed description of what her business would look like. Not just the practical aspects, but how it would feel. The kind of clients she'd work with, the impact she'd have, the freedom it would give her. She wrote, I help women break free from patterns that no longer serve them. My work is fulfilling and financially abundant. I have more client requests than I can handle, and I get to choose who I work with. I feel purposeful every single day. She put the paper away and honestly forgot about it. 3 weeks later, a woman she'd met once at a networking event called her. I know this is random, the woman said, but I was telling my therapist about some patterns I keep repeating, and she asked if I knew anyone who does coaching. Your name came to mind? Do you do that kind of work? Sarah didn't, but something in her said, yes, I do. That one client led to 3 more. Those 3 led to 10. Within 6 months, Sarah had a full coaching practice, and every single one of her clients was exactly the kind of person she'd described in her journal, women breaking free from old patterns. She pulled out that paper she'd written and stared at it. Every single thing had manifested, not because she'd forced it, but because she'd aligned with it. This is how manifestation actually works, not through magical thinking or pretending, but through alignment. When you align your energy with what you desire, when you become the vibration of what you want to create, the universe reorganizes itself to match. This sounds mystical, but it's actually quite practical. Think of it like a radio frequency. When you tune your dial to 98.5 FM, You get the music playing on that frequency. You don't create the music. It's already there. You just align yourself with it. Your desires are already here in potential form. Your dream relationship, your fulfilling career, your creative expression, your abundant life. They exist as possibilities in the quantum field. Your job isn't to create them from nothing. Your job is to align yourself with the frequency at which they already exist. Marcus learned this lesson with his leadership. He'd been promoted, yes, but he wanted more. He wanted to be the kind of leader people remembered, the kind who transformed organizations, the kind who left a legacy. His higher self gave him a practice. Every morning, spend 5 minutes being the leader you want to become, not thinking about it, not planning it, actually being it. Feel what it feels like to be that leader, see through that leader's eyes, make decisions from that leader's certainty. Marcus committed to this practice, and something strange started happening. Opportunities appeared. People started coming to him with problems he was uniquely qualified to solve. He was invited to speak at conferences. His insights were sought out. Within a year, he was exactly where he'd visualized himself being, not because he forced it, but because he became it first, energetically, and reality followed. Let me teach you how to do this. This is not complicated, but it does require consistency and genuine feeling. You can't fake it. The universe responds to authentic vibration, not performed emotion. First, get clear on what you actually want, not what you think you should want, not what your parents want for you, not what looks good on social media. What does your soul genuinely desire? Take a moment right now. What is it? A relationship, a career change, creative expression, financial freedom, better health, purpose and meaning? Choose one thing, just one. We'll start there. Got it? Good. Now close your eyes. I want you to imagine it's 1 year from today, and this thing has manifested. It's real. It's here. You're living it. But don't just see it like watching a movie. Actually, be there. First person, through your own eyes. What do you see? What sounds are around you? What does it smell like? What are you wearing? Who's with you? And most importantly, how do you feel? Not happy in a general surface way, but specifically, what's the quality of this feeling? Is it peace? Is it excitement? Is it groundedness? Is it freedom? Is it aliveness? Stay with this feeling. Let it fill your body. Let it be real right now in this present moment. This is key. Your body doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something actually experienced. When you feel it now, you're training your nervous system to recognize this as your new normal. Do this every day, not for hours, just 5 minutes, but do it with genuine feeling. Do it until the vision feels more real than your current circumstances. And then, and this is where most people mess up, let it go. Don't obsess over it. Don't check every day to see if it's manifesting. Don't frantically take action from a place of, I have to make this happen. Instead, stay aligned. Live your life from the feeling of already having what you desire. Make decisions from that place. Take inspired action, action that feels aligned, not forced. And trust. Keisha manifested her thriving business this way, not by hustling harder, but by aligning deeper. She spent 10 minutes every morning feeling what it felt like to serve clients who valued her unique gifts. She felt the abundance of it, the impact of it, the joy of it. And then she went about her day. She took aligned action, reaching out to connections, creating content, showing up authentically. But she wasn't attached to the outcome. She was already fulfilled because she'd cultivated the feeling of fulfillment first. Within 3 months, she had a waiting list. Within 6 months, she'd tripled her income. Within a year, she was exactly where she'd been vibrating. I used to think manifestation was about convincing the universe to give me what I want, she told me. Now I understand it's about aligning with what's already mine. This is available to you, right now. not because you're special or lucky or chosen, but because this is how reality works for everyone. You are a creator. You've been creating your entire life. You just weren't conscious of it. You were manifesting from your wounds, from your fears, from your unconscious beliefs. But now you're awake. Now you're aligned. Now you're connected to your higher self. And now you get to consciously create a reality that reflects your truth, not your trauma. Affirmation. Place your hands in front of you, palms up, as if receiving. Say with me, I am a powerful creator. My desires are manifesting with ease. Again, feeling it. I am a powerful creator. My desires are manifesting with ease. One more time, knowing it. I am a powerful creator. My desires are manifesting with ease. The universe is not withholding anything from you. It's waiting for you to align. And now, you know how. Chapter 13. Embracing your gifts. You have gifts, specific, unique gifts that only you can offer the world. Not because you're special, though you are, but because you're singular. There has never been and will never be another you. Your exact combination of experiences, perspectives, talents, and soul purpose is unprecedented in all of human history, and the world needs what only you can give. For most of your life, you've probably been focused on your deficits, what you're not good at, where you fall short, how you don't measure up. This is what the old cycle taught you, to constantly audit yourself for inadequacy. But your gifts weren't hiding in your weaknesses. They were in what came naturally, in what you did without thinking, in what people always asked you for help with, in what made you lose track of time, in what felt like play to you but looked like mastery to others. Marcus's gift was seeing potential in people before they saw it in themselves. Throughout his life, friends would come to him confused about their direction, and somehow, after talking with Marcus, they'd leave with clarity. He never thought much of it. It just seemed obvious to him. But it wasn't obvious. It was his gift. For years, he dismissed this ability as not a real skill. Real skills were technical, quantifiable, credentialed. But his gift of seeing and calling forth potential in others? That was the very thing that made him an exceptional leader. When he finally embraced this gift, when he stopped apologizing for it and started consciously developing it, everything shifted. He created mentorship programs in his organization. He became known for developing talent. He transformed careers. And in doing so, he found his true purpose. Your gifts might be obvious or subtle. They might be valued by society or dismissed as insignificant. But they're there, and they're asking to be used. Sarah's gift was holding space for transformation. She could sit with someone in their pain without trying to fix it, without looking away, without making it about herself. She could witness someone's truth with such acceptance that they felt safe enough to finally face what they'd been avoiding. This gift had been with her always. As a child, stray animals found her. As a teenager, friends confided their deepest secrets to her. As an adult, strangers on planes told her their life stories. She thought she was just a good listener, but it was more than that. It was her soul's purpose made manifest as a gift. And when she finally honored it, when she built her coaching practice around it, she found the fulfillment she'd been seeking her whole life. What about you? What's your gift? Think back to your childhood before you learned to perform, before you adapted yourself to others' expectations. What did you naturally gravitate toward? What did you do for hours without getting bored? What did adults comment on? Not the "you're so smart" generic praise, but specific observations about how you moved through the world. Maybe you were the one who made people laugh when things got tense. Maybe you were the one who noticed details others missed. Maybe you were the one who brought people together. Maybe you were the one who asked questions that made people think differently. These weren't random traits. These were your gifts trying to emerge even then. And what about now? When people thank you, what are they thanking you for? When someone says, "I don't know how you do that," what's the that? When you're in flow, when time disappears and you're completely absorbed, what are you doing? Your gifts are there, in those moments and those acknowledgments. You've just been trained not to see them, or worse, to minimize them. Keisha's gift was catalyzing transformation through her authentic intensity. When she spoke truth, powerfully, passionately, unapologetically, people woke up. They felt permission to be more themselves. They felt challenged to step into their own power. For years, she'd been told this intensity was too much. So she muted it, softened it, contained it. And in doing so, she buried her greatest gift. When she finally let herself be fully expressed, when she spoke with all her power, wrote with all her passion, showed up with all her intensity, everything changed. The right people were magnetically attracted to her. Her business exploded, her impact amplified, because she was finally offering her true gift to the world. Here's what I need you to understand. Your gifts are not for you alone. They're for the world. You were given specific talents, specific perspectives, specific abilities because the world needs what only you can provide. When you hide your gifts, when you play small, when you apologize for your excellence, you're not just limiting yourself. You're depriving the world of something it desperately needs. There are people whose lives will only be changed by your specific gift. There are problems that will only be solved by your unique approach. There are souls that will only be touched by your particular medicine. And they're waiting for you. They're out there right now, struggling with something that would be transformed if they could just access your gift. But they can't access it if you're not offering it. So let me ask you directly, what gift have you been hiding? What talent have you been minimizing? What ability have you been apologizing for? Maybe you're incredibly empathetic and you've been told you're too sensitive. That's not weakness. That's your gift to feel what others feel, to hold space for emotion, to heal through presence. Maybe you're highly analytical and you've been made to feel robotic or cold. That's not lacking. That's your gift to see patterns, to solve complex problems, to bring clarity to chaos. Maybe you're wildly creative and you've been told to be more practical. That's not irresponsibility. That's your gift to see possibilities, to envision new realities, to inspire others with what could be. Whatever you've been told to tone down, to apologize for, to hide, that's probably your greatest gift. It's time to embrace it. Not tentatively, not apologetically, but fully, proudly, unapologetically. Stand up right now if you can. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your spine. Feel your power. Place your hand on your heart and say out loud, "I have gifts that the world needs. I commit to sharing them fully." Say it again louder. "I have gifts that the world needs. I commit to sharing them fully." Now name your gift. Say, "My gift is," and complete the sentence honestly, even if it feels vulnerable, even if it feels arrogant, even if it feels scary. Your gift is not for your ego. Your gift is for service, and service requires you to acknowledge what you have to give. Marcus now says without hesitation, "My gift is seeing and developing potential in others." Sarah says, "My gift is holding transformative space." Keisha says, "My gift is catalyzing awakening through authentic expression." They're not bragging. They're claiming their purpose. They're accepting their responsibility. They're stepping into their role. And you, it's time for you to do the same. Affirmation. Stand tall. Breathe deep. Say with me, "I embrace my gifts. I use them to create abundance and joy." Again with pride. "I embrace my gifts. I use them to create abundance and joy." One final time, as a commitment. "I embrace my gifts. I use them to create abundance and joy." Your gifts are not optional. They're your responsibility. They're your contribution. They're your purpose made tangible. The world has been waiting. Step forward and give what only you can give. Chapter 14. Stepping into Abundance. Scarcity is a lie. The universe is not a pie with limited slices. The universe is an infinite field of possibility, continuously creating, continuously expanding, continuously offering more. But you've been taught to believe in lack, to see limitation everywhere, to protect and hoard and fear there won't be enough. This belief has shaped your reality more than almost any other. It's time to step into the truth. You are a being of abundance, living in an abundant universe, and abundance is your natural state. Let me tell you about a man named Thomas. He grew up poor, not just financially, but in spirit. His family's relationship with money was fearful, scarce, desperate. Every dollar was fought over, every purchase was agonized. The message was clear: there's never enough. Thomas carried this into adulthood. He made good money as an engineer, but he could never enjoy it. He was always waiting for the other shoe to drop, always saving for the disaster that would surely come, always saying no to experiences because I should save that money. He was financially comfortable but internally impoverished. He had money but no abundance. Then one day his daughter asked if they could take a family vacation. "Please, Dad," she said, "I just want one trip where we're not worried about every penny." Thomas saw himself through her eyes, tight, fearful, closed, and he realized he wasn't protecting his family with his scarcity mindset. He was teaching them to be afraid of life. That week he did something radical. He said yes, not just to the vacation, but to the more expensive hotel, to the spontaneous excursion, to the nice dinner. And he forced himself to stay present, to not calculate the cost of each moment, to actually receive the experience. On the last day of the trip, sitting on a beach watching his kids play, Thomas felt something he'd never felt before. The sense that there was enough, that he was enough, that life was abundant and he was allowed to participate in that abundance. This is what stepping into abundance actually means. It's not about having more money, though that often follows. It's about fundamentally shifting your relationship with the universe from scarcity to sufficiency, from there's not enough to there's more than enough, from I have to fight for my share to I am supported. Abundance isn't a bank balance. Abundance is a consciousness, a way of being, a lens through which you see reality. Marcus stepped into abundance when he stopped hoarding his knowledge. For years he'd been protective of his insights, afraid that if he shared too freely, others would surpass him. He operated from scarcity. There's only so much success to go around, and if I help you succeed, there's less for me. But when he embraced his gift of developing others, he had to let go of this belief. He started sharing generously, teaching freely, mentoring without expectation of return. And a miracle happened. The more he gave, the more he received. The more he helped others succeed, the more his own success expanded. The more he operated from abundance, the more abundance flowed through his life. This isn't just nice philosophy. This is how energy actually works. Scarcity creates contraction. Abundance creates expansion. And the universe responds to the signal you're broadcasting. Where are you operating from scarcity? Let's be honest, because scarcity is sneaky. It doesn't always look like obvious lack. Sometimes it looks like not sharing your ideas because someone might steal them, not celebrating others' success because it makes you feel behind, not investing in yourself because I can't afford it, not giving generously because I might need this later, not trusting that what you need will come when you need it. These are all scarcity thinking, and scarcity thinking creates scarcity reality. Sarah stepped into abundance through her business. At first, she was terrified to charge what she was worth. She underpriced her services, over-delivered to compensate, and exhausted herself trying to prove she deserved to be paid at all. Her higher self finally intervened. You're operating from scarcity. You believe there's a limited number of people who will pay for coaching, so you better make yourself as cheap and accommodating as possible. But this belief is creating your reality. Charge what you're worth. The right clients will come. Sarah tripled her rates, and she lost clients. The ones who were never going to value her anyway. But the clients who stayed, and the new clients who came, were transformed. They invested more, so they engaged more deeply. They paid premium prices, so they showed up fully. Everyone benefited. Within 6 months, Sarah was making more money while working fewer hours and serving fewer clients. She'd stepped into abundance, and abundance had responded. Here's how you step into abundance. First, practice gratitude for what you already have. Not fake performative gratitude, real appreciation. Look around right now. You have something, even if it's just the air in your lungs, the ground beneath you, this moment of existence. Start there, because abundance consciousness begins with recognizing the abundance that already exists. Second, give from overflow, not depletion. Give generously, yes, but give from joy, not obligation. Give from fullness, not the belief that you have to earn love or approval. Give because it feels good to share what you have. Third, receive. This is the hardest for most people. When someone offers you a compliment, receive it fully. Don't deflect. Don't minimize. Don't immediately reciprocate. Just receive. When someone wants to give you something, let them. When abundance shows up in any form, accept it with gratitude. Fourth, trust timing. Abundance doesn't always show up when you want it or how you want it, but it always shows up when you need it. Trust this. Let go of the frantic energy of, I need this now, and rest in the knowing that you are supported. Keisha stepped into abundance by finally valuing herself. She'd been giving away her gifts for free or cheap, believing that was more spiritual, more generous, more humble. But her higher self showed her the truth. When you undervalue yourself, you attract people who undervalue you. When you claim your worth, you attract abundance. She raised her rates. She started saying no to opportunities that didn't align. She invested in her own growth. She lived like someone who trusted she would be supported, because she was. And abundance came. Not just money, though yes, money came, but opportunities, connections, synchronicities, doors opening in perfect timing, the universe matching her internal shift with external reality. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to barely survive. You are not meant to live in constant fear that there won't be enough. These are not spiritual tests. They're just the result of scarcity consciousness. Abundance is your birthright. You were born into an infinitely creative universe that is constantly expanding, continuously generating, perpetually abundant. You are part of that universe. You are made of the same creative substance. Abundance is not something you attract from outside. It's something you allow from within. Affirmation. Stand or sit with your arms open wide, literally embodying openness to receive. Say with me, I am abundant. The universe supports me in every way. Again, feeling it. I am abundant. The universe supports me in every way. One more time, knowing it. I am abundant. The universe supports me in every way. Open your hands, open your heart, open your life. Abundance is here. It's always been here. You just needed to align with it. Chapter 15. Becoming the creator of your life. This is it. The moment you've been building toward through every chapter, every practice, every realization. You've awakened. You've released the old. You've connected with your higher self. You've learned to manifest. You've embraced your gifts. You've stepped into abundance. And now you stand at the center of your life as its conscious creator. Not its victim, not its passenger. It's deliberate, powerful, purposeful creator. You are no longer the person who says, "This is just how things are," or "I don't have a choice," or "I'm stuck." Those were true in the old cycle. They are not true in this new one. You have choice, always, in every moment, in every circumstance. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you always, always control what you make it mean and how you respond. And that is where your creative power lives. Marcus is no longer living a life that happened to him. He's living a life he consciously created. Every morning he asks his higher self, "What wants to be created today?" And then he aligns his actions with that guidance. Some days it's big, launching a new initiative, having a challenging conversation, taking a public stand. Some days it's small, being present with his team, listening deeply, creating space for others to shine. But every day he's choosing, consciously, deliberately, on purpose. This is what it means to be the creator of your life. Not that you control every outcome, but that you consciously choose who you're being and how you're engaging with whatever arises. Sarah is no longer waiting for life to give her permission to be happy. She's chosen happiness. She's chosen love. She's chosen purpose. Not once, but daily. Every morning she reconnects with her vision, the life she's creating, the impact she's having, the woman she's becoming. And when old patterns try to resurface, and they do, they always do, she recognizes them not as truth, but as old neural pathways firing. She thanks them for their service and chooses differently. She creates differently. She responds from her higher self, not her history. This is mastery, not perfection, but conscious creation. Keisha is no longer performing a life. She's authoring one. She knows exactly who she is, what she values, what she's here to create, and she makes every decision from that knowing. When opportunities arise, she doesn't ask, "Should I?" She asks, "Is this aligned with the life I'm creating?" When challenges arise, she doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" She asks, "What is this teaching me? How am I being invited to grow?" She's stepped fully into her role as creator, and her life reflects it, purposeful, passionate, powerful. Now it's time for you to claim this fully, not as a concept, but as a living reality. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what life am I creating? Not what life do I want someday, but what life are you actively, consciously creating right now? See it, feel it, in vivid detail. 1 year from today, what does your life look like? 3 years? 5 years? What are you doing with your days? Who are you surrounded by? What impact are you having? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? What gives you purpose? What brings you joy? And most importantly, who have you become to create this life? What qualities have you embodied? What beliefs have you claimed? What gifts are you fully expressing? This is not fantasy. This is your assignment. This is what you're here to create. Your higher self already knows this vision. It's been holding it for you all along. Now you're finally ready to receive it and enact it. Being the creator of your life means you stop waiting, you stop hoping, you stop wishing, you start choosing, you start acting, you start becoming. It means you take radical responsibility, not blame, but power. You acknowledge that everything in your life is there because of your consciousness, your choices, your energy, and therefore you can change anything by changing yourself. It means you trust yourself completely. You trust your intuition. You trust your higher self. You trust your timing. You trust your path, even when it doesn't look like anyone else's. It means you live on purpose, not accidentally, not reactively, not by default, but deliberately, consciously, with intention. Thomas, the man who learned abundance, now creates his life around experiences, not accumulation. He asks himself every month, how do I want to feel? What memories do I want to create? And then he designs his life accordingly. He's no longer living from fear. He's living from vision. You are powerful beyond measure. You always have been. But now you know it. Now you can wield it. Now you can create with it. The universe is not happening to you. It's responding to you, continuously, constantly, in every moment. You are in a dynamic, creative relationship with reality itself. And what you focus on, what you believe, what you embody, this is what expands. So choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose from your highest vision, not your deepest wounds. Choose from possibility, not history. Choose from your higher self, not your conditioned self. You are the creator, the author, the architect, the artist of your life. And this life you're creating, is your masterpiece. Welcome to your power. Welcome to your purpose. Welcome to your life as a conscious creator. The universe has been waiting for you to step into this role, and now you have. Everything from here forward is creation, deliberate, purposeful, aligned. You are no longer living by default. You are living by design. Affirmation. Stand. With your feet firmly planted, feel your power running through you like a current. Say with me, I am the creator of my reality. I live with purpose and passion. Again, with absolute certainty, I am the creator of my reality. I live with purpose and passion. One final time, as a declaration to the universe and yourself, I am the creator of my reality. I live with purpose and passion. You are, you always have been, but now you know it. Create boldly, create beautifully, create from your truth. Your life is waiting to be created, and you're ready. Chapter 16. The unity of all things. There is no separation. There never was. Everything you've learned up to this point, awakening, releasing, rising, creating, has been leading you to this one profound realization. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a small, isolated being trying to navigate a vast, indifferent cosmos. You are the universe experiencing itself through your unique perspective. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is the literal truth of existence. Let me take you back 14 billion years. Before there was you, before there was Earth, before there were stars or galaxies, there was a singularity. All of existence compressed into an infinitely small point. And then, expansion, the Big Bang, the birth of everything. Every atom in your body was forged in that moment or in the heart of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you're breathing right now, all of it is stardust. You are literally made of the universe. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, temporarily organized as a human being. Sarah had this realization one morning while watching the sunrise with her daughter. The child pointed at the sun and asked, "Where does the light come from, Mommy?" Sarah started to give the scientific answer, fusion, hydrogen, energy, but something stopped her. She looked at the sun, then at her daughter's face illuminated by its light, then at her own hand holding her daughter's hand, and she saw it, the same energy flowing through everything, the same life force animating the sun, her daughter, herself, the tree beside them, the ground beneath them. "It comes from the same place we come from," Sarah heard herself say. "We're all connected. We're all one." Her daughter nodded as if this was the most obvious truth in the world. Because it is. Children know this instinctively. We forget it as we grow, as we develop an ego, as we convince ourselves we're separate. But the truth remains. We are one. Every boundary you perceive, between you and others, between you and nature, between you and the divine, is an illusion. A useful illusion for navigating physical reality, but an illusion nonetheless. At the quantum level, at the level of pure energy, everything is connected. Everything is one. When you hurt another, you hurt yourself. When you heal another, you heal yourself. When you love another, you love yourself, because there is no other. There is only one experiencing itself in infinite forms. This is what Marcus discovered during a meditation retreat. He'd been sitting in silence for 3 days, watching his thoughts, feeling his breath, and slowly, the boundaries of his self began to dissolve. At first it was terrifying. Who am I if I'm not this separate person with this specific history and this particular identity? But then the terror gave way to something else, profound peace. He felt himself expand beyond the limits of his skin. He felt his awareness merge with the air around him, with the people sitting nearby, with the earth beneath him, with the sky above. He felt the pulse of life itself flowing through everything, connecting everything, and he understood. I is not this limited person named Marcus. I is the consciousness experiencing itself as Marcus, as everyone, as everything. I is infinite. I is eternal. I is one. This understanding changes everything. When you truly know that you are one with all things, you can no longer harm others because you recognize them as yourself. You can no longer feel alone because you are always connected to everything. You can no longer fear death because you understand that what you truly are, consciousness itself, is immortal. The mystics have been trying to tell us this for thousands of years. Thou art that, say the Upanishads. I and the Father are one, said Jesus. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Look within, thou art the Buddha, taught the Zen masters. Every spiritual tradition, at its core, points to this same truth. Separation is the grand illusion. Unity is reality. Let me guide you into an experience of this unity. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel your body sitting or standing, feel the air on your skin. Now bring your awareness to your breath. Notice how the air enters your body, becomes part of you for a moment, and then returns to the world. The boundary between inside and outside is fluid, continuous, always exchanging. Expand your awareness now. Feel the space around your body, not as separate from you, but as part of you. The air you breathe is also touching everyone else in the world. You're sharing breath with every human being, with every animal, with every plant. We're all breathing each other. Expand further. Feel the earth beneath you, the same earth that holds everyone, the same earth that grows all food, the same earth that has been here for billions of years, holding countless generations. You are standing on the same ground as every ancestor who came before you. You are held by the same planet as every being alive right now. Expand even further. Feel yourself as part of this solar system, this galaxy, this universe. You are not a separate thing floating in space. You are space. You are energy. You are consciousness itself, temporarily focused into this particular form called you. Can you feel it? The boundaries dissolving, the sense of separation fading. This is your true nature. This is what you actually are beyond the story of your life, beyond your personality, beyond your history. Keisha experienced this unity during a profound moment of service. She was speaking at a conference, sharing her story, and she looked out at the audience, hundreds of faces, each with their own struggles, their own stories, their own journey. And suddenly she saw through the illusion of separateness. She saw herself in every face. She felt their pain as her pain. She felt their hope as her hope. In that moment, she wasn't speaking to them. She was speaking as them. She was the universe speaking to itself, reminding itself of its own power and potential. The message she was giving them was also the message she needed to hear, because we're all teaching what we most need to learn. We're all healing each other by healing ourselves. This is the truth that sets you free, not free from responsibility, quite the opposite. When you know you are one with everything, you naturally want to serve, to heal, to create beauty and reduce suffering, because it's all happening to you, it's all you. but you're also free from the burden of isolation, from the fear of not being enough, from the anxiety of facing life alone. You can't be alone. It's impossible. You are always connected to the infinite intelligence of the universe. You are always held by the consciousness that creates galaxies and grows flowers and animates your heartbeat. You are that consciousness. You always have been. You just forgot for a while. Affirmation. Place both hands on your heart. Feel your connection to everything. Say with me, I am one with the universe. I am connected to all that is. Again, feeling it deeply. I am one with the universe. I am connected to all that is. One more time, knowing it as truth. I am one with the universe. I am connected to all that is. You are not separate. You never were. Welcome home to the truth of your being. Chapter 17. The Flow of Infinite Potential. If you are one with the universe, then you are one with infinite potential. Every possibility that could ever exist exists now. Every reality that could ever manifest already exists in potential form, and you have access to all of it. This is not wishful thinking. This is quantum physics. This is the actual nature of reality. At the quantum level, particles exist in superposition, multiple states simultaneously, until observation collapses them into a single reality. Your life is the same. Right now, in this moment, infinite versions of your future exist simultaneously. You choosing courage and you choosing fear. You saying yes and you saying no. You taking the leap and you playing it safe. All existing, all possible. And which one becomes real? The one you align with, the one you choose, the one you collapse into reality through your consciousness, your choices, your actions. Marcus stood at a crossroads last year. He was offered a position as CEO of a startup. Risky, uncertain, potentially transformative. Or he could stay in his current role, stable, known, comfortable. Two futures existed simultaneously. In one, he took the risk and either soared or crashed. In another, he stayed safe and either found peace or regret. Both were real in potential. He connected with his higher self. What do I choose? He asked. The answer came immediately. You don't choose the outcome. You choose the energy. Do you want to live from expansion or contraction, from possibility or limitation, from trust or fear? Marcus took the position, not because he knew it would work out, but because he chose to align with the flow of expansion rather than the stagnation of safety. The flow of infinite potential is always moving. It's never static. The universe is continuously creating, continuously expanding, continuously birthing new possibilities. And you are part of that flow. You are that flow. But here's what most people don't understand. You can't force the flow. You can't control it. You can only align with it. You can only say yes to it. You can only surrender to it and let it move through you. Sarah discovered this with her business. She had plans, detailed, specific, reasonable plans for how her coaching practice would grow. She would get clients through networking. She would build slowly and sustainably. She would follow the proven formula, but the universe had different plans. Her business exploded through an unexpected source, a podcast interview that went viral. Suddenly she had more opportunities than she could handle, in directions she'd never considered. Speaking engagements, corporate contracts, a book deal. Her first instinct was to resist. This isn't the plan. This is too fast. I'm not ready. But then she remembered, infinite potential doesn't follow your plans. Your plans are based on your limited perception. Infinite potential is based on what's actually possible, which is always more than you can imagine. She surrendered to the flow. She said yes to opportunities that scared her. She let the universe guide her in directions she wouldn't have chosen, and her life became more abundant, more joyful, more aligned than any plan she could have created. Where are you resisting the flow? Where are you trying to force things to happen your way, in your timing, according to your understanding? Where are you saying no to possibilities because they don't match your expectations? The flow of infinite potential is trying to move through your life right now. It's knocking on doors you haven't opened. It's offering opportunities you haven't noticed. It's whispering invitations you haven't heard. Thomas, who learned abundance, learned this lesson through his daughter. She wanted to be an artist. Impractical, uncertain, risky. The old Thomas would have pushed her toward something stable, safe, reasonable. But Thomas had changed. He'd learned to trust the flow. So when she came to him with her dreams, he asked her one question: "Does this feel alive to you?" "Yes," she said immediately. "It's the only thing that makes me feel truly alive." "Then follow it," he told her. "The universe doesn't give you aliveness as a cruel joke. When something makes you feel alive, that's the flow trying to move through you. Trust it." His daughter is now a successful artist, not because Thomas knew it would work out, but because he trusted the flow of her potential rather than the limitations of his fear. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is the flow trying to bring into my life right now? What possibility is knocking that I haven't answered? What invitation am I ignoring because it doesn't match my plan? Listen. Feel. Open yourself to what wants to come through. Maybe it's a creative project you've been dismissing as impractical. Maybe it's a relationship that doesn't make logical sense but feels right. Maybe it's a move to a new city. Maybe it's a career change. Maybe it's something you can't even name yet. Just a pull in a certain direction. The flow of infinite potential doesn't always announce itself clearly. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a nudge, a sense of what if. But that whisper is the universe speaking. That nudge is life itself, trying to guide you toward your highest possibility. Now visualize yourself saying yes to this possibility, not planning how it will happen, not figuring out every step, just saying yes, opening yourself, aligning with the flow. See yourself carried by this current of potential. See doors opening, see opportunities appearing. See yourself becoming someone you couldn't have imagined, more alive, more aligned, more fully expressed. Feel the excitement of not knowing exactly how it will unfold. Feel the trust that it will unfold perfectly. Feel yourself as part of the infinite creative dance of the universe. Keisha teaches this to her clients now. Stop trying to control the how, she tells them. You're not that smart. Your conscious mind can't see all the possibilities. Your ego can't imagine all the ways things could work out. Your job is to choose the direction and trust the flow to take you there, usually through paths you never would have thought of. She learned this herself when her business took off. She didn't get clients the way she expected. She didn't grow the way the business books predicted. She didn't succeed according to any formula. She succeeded because she stayed aligned with her truth, followed the opportunities that felt alive, and trusted that the universe knew what it was doing. You are not limited to the possibilities you can imagine. You are not constrained to the future you can plan. You are connected to infinite potential, literally infinite. More possibilities exist than you could explore in 1 trillion lifetimes, and the universe wants to share them with you. It wants to surprise you. It wants to show you realities more beautiful than you dared to dream. But you have to let go. You have to stop trying to force your limited vision and open to the unlimited potential that's flowing toward you right now. Affirmation. Spread your arms wide, literally opening yourself to receive. Say with me, I am open to infinite possibilities. I embrace the flow of life. Again, feeling the excitement. I am open to infinite possibilities. I embrace the flow of life. One more time, surrendering completely. I am open to infinite possibilities. I embrace the flow of life. The flow is here. It's always been here. Stop resisting, stop controlling, stop limiting. Just open, just flow, just trust. Chapter 18, Your Soul's Purpose Unfolding. You are not here by accident. Your life is not random. You chose this. Before you were born, before you took your first breath, your soul looked at all the infinite possibilities available and said, yes, this one, this life, these challenges, these gifts, this purpose. You chose this life because only this life could teach you what you came here to learn. Only this life could give you the opportunity to fulfill your unique purpose. Purpose is not something you find. Purpose is something you remember. It's not outside you, waiting to be discovered. It's within you, waiting to be recognized. Marcus always thought he needed to discover his purpose through some dramatic revelation. A voice from the heavens, a burning bush, a moment of absolute clarity, but his purpose revealed itself gradually, quietly, through the pattern of his life. He noticed what he was naturally drawn to, developing others. He noticed what gave him energy, seeing potential in people before they saw it themselves. He noticed what people consistently thanked him for, helping them believe in their own capabilities. One day he was looking back through his journal and saw it clearly. His entire life had been pointing toward leadership development. Every job he'd held, every challenge he'd faced, every gift he'd been given, all of it had been preparing him for this purpose. His purpose hadn't suddenly appeared. It had been there all along, weaving through his life like a golden thread. He just needed to see the pattern. Your purpose is like that. It's already here. It's been here your whole life. You've been living it, even when you didn't recognize it. You've been preparing for it through every experience, every relationship, every challenge. Sarah saw this pattern when she looked back at her life. Even as a child, she was the one friends came to when they were hurting. Even as a teenager, she was the one who could sit with pain without running away. Even in her 20s, when she was lost in her own patterns, she was still the one people trusted with their truth. I thought I needed to figure out what I was meant to do, she told me. But I've been doing it my whole life. I was just doing it unconsciously. Now I'm doing it on purpose. That's the shift from unconscious living to conscious purpose, from accidentally fulfilling your mission to deliberately embodying it. Your soul chose this life for a reason. The family you were born into, that was not random. The challenges you've faced, those were not punishment. The gifts you've been given, those were not luck. All of it is part of your soul's curriculum, perfectly designed to prepare you for your purpose. The trauma you healed becomes the wound you help others heal. The pattern you broke becomes the prison you help others escape. The gift you embraced becomes the medicine you offer the world. Nothing is wasted. Every experience has been in service of your becoming. Your purpose is not separate from your life. It's the meaning woven through your life. Keisha's purpose is to give others permission to be fully themselves. But she couldn't give that permission until she gave it to herself first. She had to go through the journey of being too much, of trying to shrink, of finally claiming her full expression. That journey wasn't a detour from her purpose. It was the necessary preparation for it. Now when she stands on stage and embodies her full power, she's not just teaching a concept. She's living proof that it's possible. Her life is the message. Her transformation is the teaching. This is how purpose works. You don't learn about it and then do it. You live it, and through living it, you become it. And then you naturally share it because it's simply who you are. Let's connect you with your soul's purpose right now. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Take 3 deep breaths. Now ask your soul directly, why did I choose this life? What did I come here to learn? What did I come here to give? Don't force an answer. Just listen, just feel, just open. The answer might come as a word. healing, creation, joy, truth, connection, love. It might come as an image or a feeling. It might come as a memory of a time you felt most alive and aligned. Trust what arises. Your soul speaks in whispers, in nudges, in subtle knowings. It doesn't shout, it doesn't need to. The truth is always quiet and certain. Thomas's purpose revealed itself when he was at that beach with his family watching his children play. In that moment he felt it clearly. His purpose was to teach his children and everyone he touched that life was meant to be enjoyed, not just endured. That abundance was a right, not a privilege. That joy was a practice, not a circumstance. He'd spent most of his life learning the opposite, and now he understood. Why? So he could teach what he'd finally learned. His scarcity was not meaningless suffering. It was the classroom that prepared him to teach abundance. Your purpose is not just about what you do. It's about who you are. It's about the energy you bring to every interaction. It's about the way you make people feel. It's about the consciousness you embody. Marcus's purpose isn't just leadership development. It's being someone who sees the best in others and calls it forth. He does this whether he's in a boardroom or at the grocery store. It's not a job. It's a way of being. Sarah's purpose isn't just coaching. It's holding transformative space. She does this with clients, yes, but also with her daughter, her husband, strangers on the street. It's not a profession. It's her essence. Your purpose is the same. It's not limited to your career or a specific role. It's the gift you bring to every moment, every relationship, every interaction. It's how you show up. It's what you emanate. It's who you are. And here's the beautiful truth. When you align with your soul's purpose, life becomes effortless, not easy. You'll still face challenges, but effortless in the sense that you're no longer fighting against yourself. You're no longer trying to be something you're not. You're no longer forcing yourself into roles that don't fit. You're simply being who you came here to be. And when you do that, everything flows. The right people appear, the right opportunities open, the right resources arrive, because you're finally aligned with the universe's intention for you. Affirmation. Place both hands on your heart. Feel your soul's knowing. Say with me, I am aligned with my soul's purpose. I am living my truth. Again, with deep certainty, I am aligned with my soul's purpose. I am living my truth. One more time, as a commitment. I am aligned with my soul's purpose. I am living my truth. Your purpose is not something you need to achieve. It's something you need to embody. And you're doing that right now, in this very moment. Chapter 19. The Power of Now. There is only now, only this moment, only this breath. Everything else, the past, the future, all your stories, all your plans, exists only in your mind. The only thing that actually exists is now. And in this now, you have all the power you will ever need. Most people live their lives anywhere but here. They're replaying the past, regret, resentment, nostalgia, analysis. Or they're rehearsing the future, worry, planning, anticipation, fantasy. They're everywhere except the only place that actually exists, this present moment. And in doing so, they miss their life. Because life only happens now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. Sarah learned this through her daughter. Children are masters of the present moment. They don't worry about tomorrow. They don't ruminate about yesterday. They're fully here, fully engaged with what's happening right now. One afternoon, Sarah was playing with her daughter, but her mind was elsewhere. She was thinking about a difficult client, worrying about an upcoming presentation, planning dinner, remembering an argument with James. Her daughter looked at her and said, "Mommy, you're not here." Sarah blinked. "What do you mean? I'm right here." "No," her daughter said simply. "Your body is here, but you're somewhere else." Children see what adults forget. Presence is not automatic. Being physically here doesn't mean being actually here. The present moment is where your power lives. Not in the past, you can't change that. Not in the future, that doesn't exist yet. Only now, only here. When you're fully present, you have access to your higher self. When you're fully present, you can hear intuition clearly. When you're fully present, you can respond to life consciously, rather than reacting unconsciously. When you're fully present, you can create deliberately rather than defaulting to old patterns. The past only has power over you when you bring it into the present through your thoughts. The future only creates anxiety when you imagine scenarios that haven't happened. But when you're here, fully here, right now, there's just this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. And in this moment, you're okay. In this moment, you're whole. In this moment, you're free. Marcus discovered the power of now during a crisis. He was giving a major presentation, the biggest of his career, and halfway through, the technology failed. Everything went dark. His slides disappeared. His microphone cut out. The room was silent, waiting, watching. The old Marcus would have panicked, would have frozen, would have spiraled into thoughts of humiliation and failure. But this Marcus took a breath and came fully into the present moment, not thinking about what just happened, not worrying about what would happen next. Just here, just now, just breathing. And from that presence, clarity arose. He didn't need the slides. He knew this material in his bones. He stepped forward and spoke directly to the audience, from his heart, without any props. And it was the most powerful presentation he'd ever given, because he was fully there. This is what presence does. It gives you access to wisdom and resources you can't find when you're scattered across time. When you're here, you know what to do. When you're here, you can respond to what is, rather than reacting to what you fear. Let me guide you into presence right now. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just stop. Stop everything, just for a moment. Feel your breath. Don't change it. Don't improve it. Just feel it. The cool air entering your nostrils, the slight pause at the top of the inhale, the warm air leaving your body, the gentle pause before the next breath begins. Now feel your body. Where are you touching something right now? Your feet on the floor? Your body on a chair? Feel that contact. Feel the temperature of your skin. Feel the weight of your body held by gravity. Now listen. What sounds are around you right now? Don't judge them. Don't think about them. Just hear them. Near sounds, far sounds, the symphony of this moment. Now open your awareness to everything at once. Breath, body, sound, space, all of it happening right now. This is presence. This is now. How do you feel? Different than a minute ago? That's because you were in your head a minute ago, and now you're here. Now you're home. Keisha practices presence through her morning ritual. Before she checks her phone, before she plans her day, before she does anything, she sits for 10 minutes in pure presence. Not meditation, not visualization, just being, just now. This practice has changed everything, she told me. I used to wake up already stressed, already thinking about everything I had to do. Now I wake up into presence. And from that presence, I move through my day differently, more conscious, more aligned, more peaceful. Thomas learned presence through his abundance practice. He realized that his scarcity thinking was always about the future. What if there's not enough? What if I run out? What if I can't afford? All future, all imaginary. But when he came into the present moment, he always had enough. Right now, in this moment, he had air to breathe, food to eat, a body that worked, a family he loved. Right now, he was abundant. The scarcity only existed in his worried thoughts about a future that hadn't happened. The abundance existed in the reality of now. Every moment you spend in the past or future is a moment you're not available for your life. Every moment you spend in worry or regret is a moment you're not present to create, to connect, to experience, to be. This moment, right now, is the only moment you will ever have. And it's enough. It's always enough. It's everything. Sarah sits with her clients now and teaches them this. "Where are you?" she asks when they're lost in worry or rumination. "Are you here with me, or are you in your story?" And she watches them return, watches their eyes refocus, watches them take a breath, watches them arrive in the present moment where healing actually happens. Because you can't heal the past or the future, you can only heal now. The power of now is not a concept to understand. It's an experience to embody. It's a practice to return to again and again. Every time you notice you've drifted into the past or future. And here's what's miraculous. When you're truly present, the future takes care of itself. Because the future is created by the quality of consciousness you bring to this present moment. When you're here, fully here, making conscious choices, taking aligned action, being your highest self, you're creating the best possible future. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. You need to be fully present today, and tomorrow will unfold from that presence. Affirmation: take a deep breath and feel yourself completely here. Say with me, "I live in the present moment. I create my future with each as breath." Again, anchoring into now. I live in the present moment. I create my future with each breath. One more time, fully present. I live in the present moment. I create my future with each breath. This is your power. This is your freedom. This is your life. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Now. Chapter 20. The Infinite Cycle of Creation. You have completed a cycle, from unconsciousness to awakening, from bondage to freedom, from limitation to infinite potential. You are not the same person who began this journey. You have been transformed. But here's what you must understand. This is not an ending. This is a beginning. You have not arrived at a destination. You have stepped into a cycle, an eternal spiral of growth, expansion, creation, and evolution. The universe itself moves in cycles. Seasons change and return. Stars are born, live, and die, and their death creates the materials for new stars. Civilizations rise and fall. Life breathes in and out. Everything moves in cycles, but not circles, spirals. Each cycle returns to familiar territory, but at a higher level of consciousness, a deeper level of understanding, a more expansive level of being. You will never be done growing. You will never be done learning. You will never be done becoming, because you are not a fixed thing. You are a process. You are consciousness, endlessly evolving, eternally expanding, infinitely creating. Marcus understands this now. After his transformation, he thought he'd arrived. He thought he'd solved himself, completed his healing, finished his growth. And then new challenges appeared. Different challenges, not the old patterns, but new edges, new frontiers of consciousness to explore. At first, he was discouraged. "I thought I was done," he said. "I thought transformation was a one-time thing." But his higher self reminded him, "You're never done. You're always becoming. That's not a problem. That's the point. You're not trying to reach a static state of perfection. You're participating in an eternal dance of evolution." This changed everything for Marcus. He stopped seeing new challenges as evidence of failure and started seeing them as invitations to the next level. He stopped trying to arrive and started enjoying the journey. Sarah experienced this too. After healing her abandonment wounds, after creating her business, after manifesting her dream life, she thought she'd completed the journey. And then she got pregnant, and motherhood opened entirely new dimensions of growth. New fears surfaced, new shadows emerged, new gifts were activated, new purpose was revealed. "I used to think transformation was linear," she told me. "You start broken, you get better, you arrive healed. But it's not linear, it's a spiral. I'm visiting similar themes: trust, control, love, but at deeper and deeper levels. Each time I circle back, I understand more. I embody more. I become more. This is the infinite cycle of creation. You will circle back to familiar themes, but you won't be the same person experiencing them. You'll have more wisdom, more tools, more consciousness, more capacity, and so you'll meet them differently, respond to them differently, grow from them differently. Keisha teaches this to her clients when they get frustrated with their growth. You're not going backwards, she tells them. You're spiraling. That old pattern showing up again? That's not failure. That's an invitation to meet it from your new level of consciousness. You're being called to integrate your learning more deeply. She learned this herself when, after years of claiming her voice and her power, she suddenly felt the old fear arise during a major speaking event. Her first thought was, I thought I was over this. But then she understood. The fear wasn't evidence that she hadn't grown. It was evidence that she was being called to a new level. The old Keisha would have run from this opportunity. The transformed Keisha had said yes, and now she was being invited to meet her fear from her new, empowered consciousness. She didn't need to eliminate the fear. She needed to include it, to speak alongside it, to let it be there while she still showed up fully. That was the new level of integration. You are part of an infinite cycle of creation. The universe is creating through you. When you create art, you're the universe expressing beauty. When you love, you're the universe experiencing connection. When you heal, you're the universe remembering wholeness. When you grow, you're the universe expanding its own consciousness. You are not separate from this process. You are this process. You are the universe creating itself, experiencing itself, evolving itself, loving itself. Thomas sees this now when he looks at his children. He's not raising them to arrive at some fixed state of adulthood. He's supporting them in their eternal becoming. And he recognizes that he's still becoming too. Father and children growing together, learning together, evolving together, all part of the infinite cycle. Close your eyes one final time. Take a deep breath and feel yourself as part of this eternal cycle. Feel the billions of years that led to your existence. Feel all the stars that died so your atoms could exist. Feel all the generations that lived so you could be here. And now feel forward. Feel the ripples of your existence moving into the future. Feel how every choice you make, every consciousness you embody, every act of creation you engage in sends waves through eternity. You are not insignificant. You are essential. You are part of an infinite creative dance that depends on your unique contribution. You are the universe looking at itself through your eyes. You are consciousness experiencing itself through your life. You are the infinite temporarily focused into the finite, and you are here to create, to grow, to expand, to evolve forever. There is no end to your becoming. There is no limit to your growth. There is no cap on your expansion. You are infinite potential, endlessly unfolding, and this journey you've completed is not an ending, it's a graduation. You're ready now for deeper levels, higher spirals, more profound creation. The old cycle has ended. The karmic patterns have been released. The limitations have been transcended. You are free. And now, from this freedom, you create, not from wounding, but from wholeness, not from fear, but from love, not from limitation, but from infinite potential. You are a creator. You have always been a creator, but now you're a conscious creator. Now you know who you are, what you're made of, what you're capable of, and you're ready to create from that knowing. The universe is watching. The universe is waiting. The universe is celebrating your awakening, your transformation, your readiness to step into your full power and participate consciously in the eternal cycle of creation. Welcome to your new cycle. Welcome to your infinite becoming. Welcome to the rest of your eternal existence as a conscious co-creator with the universe itself. You are not done. You will never be done. And that's the most beautiful truth of all. Affirmation: stand tall. Feel yourself as the infinite being you are. Say with me, with all the power of your eternal soul, I am part of the infinite cycle of creation. I expand and evolve with the universe. Again, feeling your eternal nature, I am part of the infinite cycle of creation. I expand and evolve with the universe. One final time as a declaration to all of existence, I am part of the infinite cycle of creation. I expand and evolve with the universe. Yes, yes, you are. You always have been, and now you know it. Go forth. Create, expand, evolve, love, serve, become. The universe is within you, and you are within the universe, and together you are infinite.